Good evening, good evening. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday to one and to all. Perhaps it is already Monday, depending upon where you are on the globe. And this is another edition of the Late Night Word with Dr. Newsom. Quick note, Dr. Newsom will not be joining us tonight, and I will be on here just speaking briefly. So, before I begin, give yourselves a round of applause, and this is so fitting. Please give yourselves a round of applause for making it to and through another day, because as we know, and as I literally just witnessed not even 3 hours ago, not everyone will be able to say that. I'm going to go ahead and drop this just in case someone has something that they would like to add or contribute or ask. Again, I don't anticipate being on here long at all, but if there's anyone that would like to come up and discuss this particular topic, then feel free to do so. I do hope that everyone has enjoyed this Sunday. This Sunday here was absolutely, at least in the beginning of the day, absolutely gorgeous. I was out and about. I went to a nice little spot where I find peace, and that's just watching airplanes um, take off and land. And after I did that and did some walking, I ended up at the White House. And I was walking around, conversing with people, and just having a good time and enjoying the many people that walk here in the United States, the many concerns that people have here in the United States. And I remember saying earlier when I was at the spot watching the planes how peaceful and beautiful that was and how lovely the sky was. I also spoke briefly about this time last year, at least a couple of months. Um, this time last year, I was confined to a hospital bed, and I will continue to speak on that to again give the Creator His glory because I believe in that. Again, I'm not here to thump a Bible or push my beliefs on anyone, but again, I was told so many different things as far as what I'm going to need for the rest of my life. Don't get me wrong, I have a tough battle, an extremely tough battle as it relates to my medical issues, but I am aware of those. I just found out another one about a month ago that I spoke about. Even with that, I still continue to fight and work and live my life as if it is my last day. So when you see me posting videos, going out to eat and smiling, that's how I live my life, as if that is my last day. So I want to talk about hope and grief, light and the darkness, and I'm going to focus really quickly on the book of Romans 8 and 28. And we know that those who love God, all things, again, all things will work for the good for those who are called according to his purpose. And again, I'll repeat that part. According to his purpose. Now, today, as I said, was for me a day where I spent most of it outside. I did some work. I worked a lot yesterday, but I did some work. But today I took time for me and just enjoyed myself. And I did a vertical on the White House video. And that, even though there are so many people that get a lot of views, that vertical was my highest video view. So again, the likes don't match the view, and I guess that's how verticals go. And I think I may have received a couple of comments, but I believe it's because of the location I was. And again, people are fickle, but it's okay. Again, it was a vertical, and it was that's the highest number of views I've had on a video. So I guess that's a good thing. But shortly after that, I happened to, as I went around the corner, getting ready to head back in, I saw a large police presence, a large first responder presence, and it was near a homeless encampment. I could have literally walked from the White House to that area. Now, I filmed that live, but I took it down because it really it bothered me. I put a short up, but it didn't capture everything. It was just a brief snippet for people to see the other side of life in Washington, D.C. And that's the side that people unfortunately turn a blind eye to, and that is the homeless population. Um, I've been in Baltimore, I've been in DC, I've sat with the homeless, I've sat with those who are addicted. Hey there, Hassan, how are you? Good to see you. The link is there. If you want to come up, you do not have to. Dr. Newsom will not be with us tonight. He had his show over the weekend and he is resting from that. And actually, I didn't expect him to be up to this, so I am winging it solo. But I just wanted to speak on um, some of the things that I saw. But I am doing well, Hassan. Hope you are doing well yourself. And thank you for those links. I actually did take a moment to look at those. So thank you. I appreciate that so much. As I mentioned, there was a medical or some type of emergency that was going on, and the police and first responders were cordoning off the area. And again, it was a homeless encampment right adjacent to a church. Thank you so much, Hassan. Appreciate you. Right next to a church, but again, homeless people of all colors and age groups. It was just really sad to see, and unfortunately, the people who were within the perimeter at the time had to leave because I didn't even know this at first until I got a little bit closer. There was a medical emergency that was going on, and I made sure that was not caught. I again, I had no idea what was going on until I looked. and I saw an individual on the pavement, and there were several first responders around, and there was a defibrillator. For those of you who are familiar with that, those are machines that try to bring you back, to get your heart working the way that it should be. I could tell by the force of that machine and how long, and I mentioned that during the live, that it just did not look good. So after about, I'm gonna say 10 or 15 minutes, that's when one of the young ladies brought the sheet out, and I pretty much knew. And there was another person who actually did say the person had transitioned. So again, prayers out to that individual. And the sad part is the officers, and none of them were evil or mean. I can't imagine. I can't imagine what they were feeling, what they were seeing, because from my optics, they were doing all they could to save this individual physically, but the machine didn't work. I do not know what happened. I don't know if it was a result of weather conditions or an overdose. It could have been anything. Um, but no one knew the person's name, even the other homeless people that were around. It was an awful, awful thing to actually witness. And as I mentioned, and I speak about this often because it humbles me and it reminds me, when I was in the hospital, I kept hearing the beeps and the machines and people transitioning in to be actually maybe, maybe 5 to 7 feet away, and seeing another human being, no matter whether they had a zip code or not, transition. That really, really did something to me, and I really had to go sit and get myself together. Again, there are so many things that people don't see because the mainstream media, they don't show you. They don't show you, and that's something that I'm going to make a commitment to do. I don't have a lot of time and a lot of energy to get many things done, but you will need to see actually what really goes on here in the nation's capital. You would not believe some of the things. There should not be the level of homelessness that I saw today. Again, I saw Asian people, I saw black people, I saw white people, I saw Hispanic people, I saw pets. You name it, I saw it. And again, shout out to the first responders, the police officers, because they treated those homeless people with dignity. And you don't see that often. At least I don't. So again, shout out to them and to the first responder who was over top of the defibrillator that tried to bring that person back. Prayers to you physically and mentally, because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that must have been a very, very difficult thing to have to witness, and to the young lady that had to bring the sheet out to cover the individual. That last sighting again, that must have been something, again, very difficult to actually have to witness. Many people are probably saying, "Oh, they're used to it." Maybe so. Maybe it does come with the job, but that's a human life, and I believe that most first responders in their mind, they take an oath to try their hardest to revive people and to bring them back. And even if one is lost, it doesn't matter. Again, the zip code or their situation. Not being able to do that, I would think, I would believe that it's very hurtful. So when we look at the scriptures, Romans 8 and 28, and there are others, but I wanted to focus on that because people would probably think, well, how could something like that be for his purpose? And Dr. Newsom and we've spoken about this many times before about bad things, but how do we know what the purpose of this individual transitioning in the way in which they did? How do we know within the future or for people who actually witnessed it if it did not affect them in a way that may bring them closer to the Creator? I've learned, and I'm a believer in that the Creator makes no mistakes, no matter how hard it may be, how painful it may be to see or feel. Focusing on the latter right now, I believe there is something that is there's a lesson in everything. There's a lesson in everything. Perhaps this may save others. Perhaps witnessing this may have softened the hearts of people who have had hardened hearts. Perhaps witnessing this could have brought humility to people and compassion to those who suffer. Again, the homeless situation here in the US, and I'm speaking on the US because this is where I live. It is absolutely, absolutely horrible. And it makes no sense to me how a country that has so many wealthy individuals and so many buildings, high rises, flats, going up week after week after week. And those contracts are extremely lucrative. Why the shelters don't match? Why treatment centers don't match? The Asian lady that was in front of me, I believe she had all of her belongings with her. She didn't say anything. She just quietly took herself out of the way of the officers. Again, they had to cordon off the area with the yellow tape. I don't know if they've removed it now and those individuals are back in that area. I don't know how that works in the District of Columbia, but it it was just a very, very sad thing to see. And unfortunately, this happens all the time. I don't see it all the time. And to be frank with you, I don't think I could deal with seeing that all the time. A first responder is something, again, knowing me, I would not be able to do. You have to be a very special type of person to be able to endure seeing this day in and day out, especially when you're dealing with the elements. And when I say the elements, I'm speaking about weather conditions. Again, I have no idea what caused the situation to occur and then the subsequent loss of life. And again, I actually witnessed it. I didn't know at first, but when I saw the machine, I'm like, okay. And they tried. They really, really did. And it was nothing that they could do. But I think what made me more upset was the fact that nobody knew this person's name, and the officer kept trying to ask, do we know who this person is? Do we know who this person is? He kept saying that before the sheet was brought out, as if he already knew what what was going to be. It was inevitable, I guess, for next of kin purposes. But when you think about the homeless population, how many of them really do know one another other than just facial recognition? It's a very sad thing to see, but it's a real thing. And again, people may ask, well, again, how is there good in that? And I will go back to what I said earlier. It could change the hearts of people. If I saw that, who knows who else could have seen that? Maybe, just maybe, and it's just a thought, contracts could be created for shelters for the homeless, for more addiction centers, for additional mental health resources. So people who are out on the street, tourists, won't have to see that. So first responders don't have to continue to go through that. I mean, you're always going to have something to respond to, but as far as the homeless problem, and it is a problem, at least that be reduced if the people in power paid attention and appropriated funds for such facilities. That's not the only encampment. They're all over. They are in Maryland. They are also in Virginia. Yet, and this is no slight to sports fans, they're looking to move the Washington Commanders back to DC. That deal is going to be, if not in the billions. I'm going to say the upper million. So we're going to put a sports arena gathering place or move it once again in front of getting people off of the street. To me, that doesn't make sense. It was there once before. It was there once before, but again, well, not our, but the mayor for DC, Muriel Bowser, that's her show. That's what she needs to look at. But the homeless situation is a major, major problem, as well as the violence. Hold on for one moment. Hey, Hassan,
Hey, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I just want to be part of this topic. It's very interesting.
Hold on for one quick moment. Let me get this off. Okay,
There you go. How you
let me.
doing?
I'm doing good. Let me take the crazy man off too. There we go. That's how I felt earlier today, though. But happy Sunday, or perhaps it's Monday. I'm not sure where you are, but
Eh,
yes, what is it you like to say?
Happy Sunday. Well,
Thank
can the homeless problem can be solved? Yes, because we've seen it in Libya before. Under their old leader, he fixed it. Everybody had a job. Everybody had a roof. Everybody. Now, of course, that's coming in with their money and the oil and resources. Japan, they fixed their European countries like Norway and I think Netherlands. It can be fixed. It's possible, but they don't want to fix it over here. Remember when the Chinese president came to California, visit the governor of California, when Biden was president? They wiped out the whole homeless population. What did they took them? Like if you watch the videos, Chinese president meeting the California governor in California, the streets were like clean, no homeless in sight, was no trash in sight. It would look clean. They can do it, but they choose not to. Now the why, maybe some of them look at it as business money. Why should I spend money on the people when I can get the extra bonus to me? Selfish, greedy, or just let people burn. Like they're like I don't care type of. Everybody had their reason, and the ones who are trying to fix it and help out, sadly to say, no one's paying attention to them, and like they're not getting enough attention as it or enough money behind them and support. And eventually, those people they're gonna have a breaking point. Eventually, they're human too. They're gonna say, you know what?
absolutely,
Yeah, and that's what we've been seeing a lot, especially in this side of the world in this country. You know.
absolutely, and that's why I was so upset. There was actually when I was leaving the White House grounds, there was a Caucasian woman on a bench who was actually a homeless person, and I started to ask her if I could speak to her, but I just did not have the heart to do that. But see, again, as I keep trying to explain to people, mainstream media that they don't show you all of these things. I'm out here, so I see them, and I try to bring not a lot, but just snippets so people can see exactly what's going on. You mentioned earlier about this could be fixed. As I mentioned, if you look at some of the large construction contractors, there are flats and high rises that go up. And I'm not embellishing, weekly or bi weekly. If you have money and funds to do that, I would think that to eradicate the homeless problem, and it's a huge problem, that some of that money, some of the appropriations should go to the shelters as well and addiction centers. It was really sad. Some of the people out there actually had pets as well, and it was just like I
Yeah,
said, I could not believe what I was seeing.
people need to understand. Some people, like I remember this story, right? He was in the military. He got out. He worked in, I think, a fireman or an ambulance or whatever. He was doing good. He got a call one day, and it turned out to be his daughter and wife got murdered, and he went completely crazy. Then he ended up being homeless. So not everybody's on drugs. Everybody has a story, and some choose to be there. You know, maybe they had enough of their family. Not all of them. Some were forced. Some people had enough. So it's like, you got to balance it. Everybody is, and it's still sad. And another thing, I remember watching this video, it made me think, what's going on right now maybe it's designed on purpose, because if you go back in history, the Great Depression, people losing their jobs, people losing their houses, people on the street. Now you just add more druggies. There's more drugs too, on top of losing your house or apartment and losing their jobs and stuff. Then, if you, and he also said, if you pay attention, what happened after that? A bigger war. People got started getting drafted. Then the men went to war. The women went work in the factories. Boom, out of nowhere. Like the Great Depression kind of was fixed in a way in the higher ups. So if you pay attention now, people on drugs, people losing their house. The big media is not really paying attention. You the smaller channels on YouTube bringing it up. Few people see it. Either they care or they don't care. Like, another day. But the bigger,
Exactly.
yeah, yes. So the bigger picture, it got me thinking. Maybe that's the big agenda. Okay, people on drugs, check. A lot of people lost their homes or whatever, check. People on the streets, jobs, people losing their minds. There's wars going on. So are we waiting for the big war to happen, like an all-out war, and the draft happen? That's what's next left. The war's already out there, so what's left? The draft. So men go to war, women go to factories. That's what it looks like. If you like the way he explained is a better. If I find that video, I'll send it to you. But like, hey, he could be right, and like if you pay attention, the way it's going, you know.
Absolutely. I was in Baltimore maybe a week after the mass overdose. And again, I have so many questions about that. How 27 people were able to get their hands on the same quote unquote bad batch. Now, again, I cannot attest to whether it was deliberate, and I'm not into conspiracy theories, but I am a realist, and it just didn't
Yeah,
make any sense to me. And I was right there, walking and talking with them, and I saw maybe two Baltimore police officers, but it, I saw a lot of the Narcan and the test strips. But that to me is just a temporary band aid. And temporary band aids, usually in time, they need to be discarded, and you need stronger reinforcements. But we cannot continue to band aid these situations. We need to fix and resolve them. Question is, as you mentioned earlier, do people want to fix the problems. To me, that there are resources out there. There absolutely are resources out there, but I've seen where, and I've heard where the criteria they change often, where the people who truly need, they still may not be eligible because the criteria has changed so much. So in a way, again, this is just my opinion, you're right, it could definitely be by design. There are a lot of people, disabled veterans, that are homeless. That definitely should not be something anyone should see. People who have given everything for this country, in my opinion, that they should not be homeless, but you see quite a few of them as well, and it is absolutely heartbreaking. Oh, awesome. Make sure that you send those to me as well. So again, a lot of people don't talk about those things. Um, Again, it is just part of, as I mentioned, for the greater of the good according to the Bible. Now, I don't know if you are strictly in the Quran, and if you are, the situation that I happened to witness, which was someone actually passing away on a cold street, even though he was surrounded by first responders. He did not make it. It
Yeah.
could just be for, as I said, people that have witnessed it to give them more compassion, or maybe opening people's eyes up to have shelters and addiction centers so we don't have to continue to see and hear about these horrible stories.
Yeah, I mean, it is sad. And here's another thing about groups. When, let's say, if people, when they create a community or a group, let's help the homeless, let's help whatever, it starts out good, but the sad thing of history has taught us anything is going to get corrupted. The higher ups going to corrupt it. Who's the weakest link? Who's the greediest of them all? Is going to get corrupted from the end, and then the people say, "Oh, you guys are scamming this," and this has happened to every group. Even if they had good intentions, it got ruined. So people got to be careful with that too. So remember, choose your group wisely, as wisely you can, choose. Now, do people care? Yes, people care. The question is, are they doing something about it? Some are. Some are in the streets doing stuff about it. But again, are they getting the real support? No. Are they get even we go help them out? We got our own lives to do. We got a job, we got bills, we got rent, we got families. So even we can't be there all the time until it wears off on us and we say, the hell with it. We're done. So it's sad, and this is never gonna end until the higher ups actually step in and do something. Because I said this has been fixed. Before the war in Libya, there was no homeless people. Netherlands, Japan, they don't have that problem. So, it's sad, but it is what it is. But operators. But yeah, those two I just shared with you,
Yeah.
those are news channels, and they have like a live 24 hours, and they have they're very interesting. They're gonna stuff that you don't see on CNN or Fox News or nothing. Very
Mhm.
interesting, very interesting channels. And I'll still send them to your email if you can't get it in here.
Oh, absolutely, because when I end this, I think that's going to go away. So, yes, you can definitely email that. But again, I don't know if you saw the live where I was at the White House, but you had U.S. citizens that were there to support Ukraine. I mean, you saw so many different people from all over. There was a woman that walked by me and she said, support Palestine, and there was a Caucasian man who had a sign that he created himself that basically said, release the Epstein files. And he was on camera, and so was a young lady who was showing support for Ukraine. So, I mean, Washington, D.C. truly is a melting pot, but with that, you have a lot of people, and you have a lot of people who are upset. They're angry, and um, as we get closer to September the 11th, and I'm not going to go too deep into that,
Yeah.
but I just want people to be cognizant and always, again, live your life absolutely, but be cognizant because there were so many things happening. I like to call them, as many others do, distractions, because to me, that's what they are. I mean, again, I actually witnessed someone lose their life today. Again, it doesn't even matter what the reason is. They're no longer here. And as I mentioned earlier before you came up, what I found to be the most heartbreaking is there was one officer who, again, that they all were so compassionate. They were trying desperately to find out the identity of that person, and nobody knew. And that's just heartbreaking in itself. Now, I'm sure, I'm hopeful that once he gets to where he was transported to, that they may be able to identify him. But that's very sad too. I'm sure he was known by face, but not to know a name, and that speaks volumes. Um, that's going to bother me. I'm sure the remainder of the night and perhaps tomorrow. But I also have to remember that it is a part of life, and unfortunately, and we see this in the Bible, that not everything that we witness will be glamorous or pretty. Sometimes blessings come out of the most tragic situation. So that is why I spoke on that scripture earlier from the book of Romans. And I know it may be difficult for some people to understand or even believe, but sometimes one person, despite that they're no longer being here, they might be the ones called. And we don't know if that person had repented and it their soul is now in paradise. I cannot say that, but let's just say it is. Again, that could be saving many more. So I have to conceptualize and look at it that way, being a believer. And it might be difficult for others, but that I have to believe that. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, yeah. Like the people that repent, that's between them and God. That's what it comes down to. It. Even though we human, we like to judge. No, he didn't repent. No, she did. In the end of the day, people are gonna be people. And like I said, there's a lot of sad situations. There's a lot of bad stuff happening as it is. People pray. People don't want to pray. People pray last minute, like the last breath, and they start praying. But again, it's between them and God. That we as human, we got to know our boundaries too. Oh, you done it too late. Maybe the Lord forgave him. How will you know? Like we gotta understand that part. Like we gotta know our boundaries. Like now, it's like you said, when somebody passed away, they passed away. There's nothing you can do. All we can do, God have mercy on their souls.
Absolutely. And Dr. Newsom, that is something that he says all the time. We don't know where those people are in their walk. It could be. right before. We don't know that. And we should not be judging. And that's why I said it doesn't matter the zip code. We just don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, but um, I just send you on the email right now the two channels I shared with you, and the third one I don't know if I sent it before, but I think you like it. Hold on, that was yeah. So these are not like a panel stuff. They just two of them are like news channels to be updated on what's going on in America and the world. Very good, and they have lives 24 hours. You know, if you want to watch the live, their video, and they have documentaries, very interesting stuff they get into. And the third channel, there's a lot of good debates, you know, religious debates and stuff. You know, I send you a Pacific video to check out and check out the channel. They're old videos, but they're very, very respectable and educational, if you want to call it. But yeah, I mean, just keep up the good work. You know, at least you're trying. At least you went out there. You know.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I always try to get out there. And actually, today I just planned on just watching the planes land and take off. But then I said, let me go around to the White House and see what's going on. And yeah, there were a lot of people voicing their opinions, but it was also very peaceful. There was no vulgar language or anything like that. Even the very last place I ended up, which happened to be unfortunate, there was no vile language. And again, as I said, the first responders and the police officers and everyone that was around, even the bystanders, um, they were extremely sympathetic, respectful, and the student was, in my opinion, um, treated with dignity, and we don't see that often. We see the ugly things, but that is not what I witnessed, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, yeah, because on TV they show you one thing because they're doing it for views, money, and the crazy. They don't show you the other side. We, the YouTubers, the people that have channels on the internet, we got a taste of that. You know, when people trying to talk bad about you, you know, there's behind the scenes conversations. So like we're kind of true. We're not getting paid millions of dollars like how they are, but we're getting a little taste of it. How is really similar. You know what I'm saying? Like with our channels and stuff. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so like always been told this: if you're gonna do something or you want to help out, make sure you go out there, see, and hear for yourself. Don't I don't want to hear he or she said or you see videos. That's great. At least you have an idea, but at least go in there. If I'm gonna help these people, I'm gonna go in there and see what I'm getting myself into. See what's going on. How can I help them? Because everybody needs different help. It's not all about money. I mean, money can,
Absolutely.
you know, so you can have better
Absolutely.
understanding.
You have to, and you're absolutely right, Hassan. You most definitely have to have boots to the ground. And you're right. You will never know unless you are out talking to people. And another thing I want to say really quickly, there are a lot of stereotypes, and you mentioned this earlier about homeless people or people who are going through addictions. You don't know what their story was and why they may be where they are now. There are a lot of variables involved, but unfortunately, people tend to, well, not everyone, but there are many people that tend to come to their own conclusions and take time out and just have a conversation. You might change your mind.
True, true. But at the same time, depends on the person. Because again, it's like they say, when there's chaos, there's an opportunity for some people. Somebody can come in, says the right things, does the right, but his agenda is all messed up. Isn't it doesn't match up, but he playing along so to get his how you say his feet wet until he gets what once he gets closer, then his true self comes out. Unless you caught on to it and kicked him out of the. That's what it comes down to. Be careful. Not everybody has the same doesn't want the same thing as you want or the group or whatever you got going on. That's why you got to be aware. And it's too much to handle. I get it, but be aware of things. Not everybody has the same agenda as you, and not everybody's heart is in that. Maybe they just use it as a stepping stone to get what they really want. Maybe the fame, the money, or whatever it is they're going for. So we also got to be careful with that too. Talking, but hey, it is what it is. It's the oldest trick in the book, you know.
It
So
is. I'm under the belief that it may take some time, and we may not see it in our lifetime. But I always believe what's done in the dark will surely come to light. And we're starting to see a lot of those things. Good morning, my beautiful mind. How are you?
how you
And
doing, man?
thank you so much, mind. How are you doing? But yes, you're absolutely right. You had to be careful. So I try my best to be cognizant and go in with a sincere heart and um, show people what is really out there. And again, you won't see a lot of the some of the things you may see on the news, but not everything. And Chrono says media
Yeah,
shows
yeah.
the world what helps them earn money. They do not care about the facts, pain of the people. Absolutely, absolutely. And I've seen, I've had my fill of seeing pain and suffering, and I tell you, it's heartbreaking. And prayerfully, it, it will come to an end. But I don't know when that'll be. And speaking of which, we are in the month of, and I'm not sure if you remember this or not, Hassan, and those who may be listening and those who may catch the replay. We're coming up on the anniversary of one of the worst disasters, um, and that was Hurricane Katrina. Do you
Yeah,
remember
yeah. It's
that?
been yeah. I was like in the sixth, seventh grade when that happened.
Oh my goodness. I remember that, and I cried and cried and cried, and I don't think I really want to cover that because I get upset about things. But that,
I mean,
as
hey, I mean, it as sad as I mean, look, if you look at the world right, there's a lot of floods, earthquakes, fires. There's a bunch of stuff, you know. And if we're being uh, realistically, you know, Hurricane Katrina, rest in peace to all the people, but the only people really cared and affected is the New Louisiana people, unless some they have other family because then that you know, and as sad as it is, but people need to understand that, you know, because most people are gonna look, well, that didn't happen to me, or my family's not there. It's you know, so there's also that as well.
absolutely, absolutely. But that is something that we should never ever forget. As well as September 11th and all of the other um, things that these United States have seen. And then things that have happened worldwide. It just doesn't start and begin here. There's so many things, as I said, that are going on that we're just barely scratching the surface, unfortunately. But as you
Yeah,
said, it is what it is right now. And the only thing we can do is bring attention to it. Um, do our best to speak to certain people, and I definitely am one for writing campaigns and calling people, and I'll be on the horn tomorrow because
you know, my
that
bad
that
to
was
interrupt you, but
oh, it's okay.
this is an idea. You should like interview those people, like, even though it's 10, 15 minutes, get their mind process on why, what's going on when you go out there.
Oh, I
And
did actually interview a couple of people at the White House, but as far as the homeless situation, I couldn't do that. Mm-mm. I've got to get a little bit stronger because I was almost in tears. I had to get away when I saw that sheet come out. I had to. I actually deleted that. I don't even want to go back to that. I took a quick short just to show people about the situation, but it's in my mind. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
yeah, that was rough. That was really
but
rough.
hey,
But I'm
I give you props. At least you went out there and you know and seeing it for yourself. Now at least you have a better understanding than have the people that's talking about it. Now really not
I see homeless people in encampments every day under the bridges, but to actually see, like I said, someone on the pavement and the first responders trying to revive them to no avail, that is something that I did not expect today
yeah.
at all. But it again, it happens every day. We hear in the states and many of the all over. We listen to and unfortunately have to hear the pops, but then you have to look at countries where young people and old people or older people they have to listen to the booms of bombs. So I mean we're kind of like in the same boat, so to speak, as it
Yeah.
relates to um, things that frighten us and just life, just life period. That's become normal, and we it should never be normal, but that's what we're living in.
Yeah, yeah, and you're absolutely right. But in the end of the day, like you said, it's life. People are gonna move on. There's sad time. There's happy times. Like right now, as we speak, some people are having a birthday party. Some people got engaged. They got a newborn. Somebody got arrested. Somebody got kidnapped, being tortured, robbed, earthquake, a bomb, just whatever, all at the same time right now. These people are celebrating the good, and these people celebrating the bad. And in the future is going to be the opposite. Now they're going to be celebrating whatever fun comes, and they're going to have their bad time. Somebody got a heart attack or whatever. You know,
Absolutely, it's a balance. It's a
it's a
balance. You're absolutely right. The pendulum will swing differently at different times, so you are absolutely right about that.
yeah, and life just goes on. And people, they say they don't care until it happens to them, or somebody they actually give a damn, or they actually care about.
Absolutely, and trust and believe. Sooner or later, it comes back, and then people understand. So I would encourage people, don't wait until fate knocks on your door. Try to exhibit and exude compassion for others, so that when, not if, but when it's your turn, The
Yeah,
same can be reciprocated to you.
and you're absolutely right. Then we hit the 1 hour. Hey, this has been fun. I appreciate you always bringing me up. Before I leave, I should share with you 4 channels on your email.
Okay?
2 of them are just news, like like you see it live, you can check it out. Check the other two are more like religious conversation, and both of them like debates or lectures, and they're pretty good. I think you'll end up liking them. Whenever you have time, check them out.
Actually, I listen to a lot of different channels before I go to sleep after I pray. I'll listen to things, and I
Yeah,
find as I listen to those while I'm sleeping, it puts me in a different state. So I enjoy when you send those to me, and I appreciate that.
yeah. No problem. And then keep up the good work. And until next time.
All right, Hassan, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Everyone, that was Hassan. Thank you all for tuning in to another edition of the Late Night Word with Dr. Newsom. Again, Dr. Newsom is resting, and he deserves it because he has been working tremendously. He had a big program that occurred this weekend, so he's resting, and we will be back next weekend, God willing. So, with that, I am going to end this with Heavenly Father, thank you for another day. Thank you for blessing me and those under the sound of my voice with favor, grace, and mercy. I pray that everyone, who, everyone who are out, as Hassan said earlier, enjoying the goodness of life, can continue to do that with peace. Those of you that are on the roads, I pray for traveling mercies. Those of you that are in a temporary pool of darkness, I pray that the light shines on you, and that hope that comes from that beacon of light also is bestowed upon you. Never let the adversary, and trust me, the adversary is alive and well, but never, ever, ever prove him to be a truth teller. No, the truth teller is the creator. The adversary or the evil one is a liar. So, with that, please, please, please be safe, be well, and be healthier. Prayers for a blessed, peaceful night and a productive, peaceful beginning of a brand new week. I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Again, thank you, Hassan, and everyone that took the time out to stop by, and those who took the time to leave your comments. Truly, truly appreciate you all. And God willing, until next video, bye bye for now.